My sister-in-law said I don't deserve my new home. Now their family is in shambles.
Well, she doesn't deserve to speak.
I'm afraid of her. My husband, 38 male, and I, 33 female, just bought our first house. My husband has a pretty high-paying job. I work and make a decent salary. But our budget to buy our house was definitely influenced more by his earnings. By the way, this comes from user Cat Drama on the TwoHotTakes subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, why don't you go over to the r/OK storytime subreddit. So, we had his family over last week. Generally, I loved his parents. They have always been really good to me, and they're fun. I've not spent as much time with his sister outside of holiday gatherings, but we do have her son, the husband's nephew, stay with us for a week over the summer the last few years. So I know him well too, and I love him. Everyone mentioned above comes over and we show them around the house. At one point, I'm showing sister-in-law the kitchenette in the basement, and I say something like, "It's great that our house has this space now, so if you want to visit us, you'll have basically a whole separate apartment." And she goes, "Our? Is it also your house?" I'm immediately confused, but also I guess she could have assumed my husband had bought it on his own. So I said, "Yeah, we bought it together." And she goes, "Do you think you deserve to own half of this house?"
Yeah, we bought it together.
Yeah, he's my husband. I don't know. I just think that's crazy.
Well, you can keep your thoughts to yourself.
Yeah, because I think he's my husband.
And I think we bought it together.
I was shocked, and I mostly panicked. And I said, "Well, I do. Yeah." I fled to the basement. I immediately told my husband away from his family, and he, in turn, immediately went to talk to his sister. I went to hang out with his parents and didn't say anything to them, but then we heard shouting outside. My husband and his sister were yelling at each other. I know people are different with their siblings, but I've never really heard him yell before. I could hear him tell her that we don't have a prenup, and she called him an idiot. I had to tell his parents what was going on, and they went and intervened and left pretty quickly with his sister and nephew, who didn't hear any of this through the magic of video games, I think. His mom said sorry to me on the way out. I did touch base with my husband, and he was livid, like way more angry than I'd expect. He told me that before we got married, his sister was the beneficiary of his life insurance, and he thought she was angry over essentially being removed from all his assets. We'd been married for 3 years.
Does she think that she deserved that?
Do you think you deserve that? She apparently had texted him about being added onto the house paperwork a few weeks ago during the buying process, and he just ignored her.
That's actually
rightfully so, because that's cringe.
crazy.
His parents have reached out to me and have been very sweet and apologetic, but they really want to fix things and have asked if I'll talk to sister-in-law. I'm trying to step away from it and just say it's now between my husband and his sister. Is that fair? Of course, I'm a bit hurt by her saying that, but at the end of the day, if she has problems with how he's handling his assets, that's between the two of them. Right? I feel really bad because his family has always been so sweet and I really love his nephew, so I also want things to be fixed. There is an edit. I will make an update, but we have plans to chat about it today, speak to his parents, and figure out how we want to go forward. I agree with essentially all of you, and I'm not planning to discuss it with her until she apologizes. And to answer some common questions, nephew's dad is not and has not been in the picture for a long time. Sister-in-law has been in and out of relationships with not the best type of dudes. She is younger and there's no other siblings. Yes, there's been a pattern of her getting more help from their parents, but it's because she really needs it, being a single mom, and my husband has always been pretty independent. I promise I don't tell every person on the street about our lack of a prenup. My husband did come into the marriage with a lot of assets, so I think when his friends and family expressed curiosity about a prenup, it was coming from a place of concern or care for him, and I love that, so it felt appropriate to share how we made that decision. No one ever pushed back. I've never talked to his sister about it, and I think she didn't know, but my husband sort of yelled at her in anger in a "we don't even have a prenup" kind of way. We are planning on kids, but could still keep up what we are currently doing for nephew even if we did, and he just became an official teenager, so the college fund is close to complete. At this stage, we don't add much money to it anymore. It's just accruing. And we have some comments. But before we get into those comments, what are your comments?
I just think that I agree with you, OP. I don't think that it's really your business to have that conversation with the sister-in-law. I think that's absolutely your partner's responsibility, because what would you even say to her? Like, she's like, "You don't deserve that." And you're like, "So, hey, remember when you said that I didn't deserve that? I do."
Yeah, you just go back to her. You go, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it really hard. And it turns out I do actually deserve that.
I don't know how you would even have that conversation because she's so clearly wrong.
You should go ask my husband if he thinks I deserve to be a part of the house.
Yes.
Why don't you go ask him?
That would be great.
Comments. Comment number 1. What could you possibly say to your sister-in-law? Exactly. I think you say that the issue isn't really about you. It's about how sister-in-law thinks everything that's your husband's is also hers. That's something your husband needs to set straight, not you. You just sit there and stay pleasant. You handled this perfectly. It's not your battle and your husband has your back. Clearly, sister-in-law sounds insane. OP says, I know this is right, but it's just really frustrating. We've had the awkward conversation of explaining why we don't have a prenup to some friends and family, and I really don't mind getting into those topics or talking about those things. Which at the end of the day, it's also like none of your business. Yeah. Unless your friend is like a prenup, what's that? Like if they're informed and they've made their decision, it's no one else's decision.
Too late.
Right.
It's also just
can you do that proactively?
You mean after the fact?
Oh yeah, proactive would definitely be the wrong word.
Yeah. Proactive would be
post-active.
Post nuptially.
Or reactively.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Can you just like make an agreement? You're like, hey, yeah. Mr. Lawyer, I would like it so that if we split up, I get half the money.
Well, it wouldn't be a prenup anymore because that's prenuptial.
A post-nup.
It would be a post-nup.
That's that post-nup clarity.
Post-nup.
I know this is different because she's not coming from a place of curiosity or just wanting to understand, but it's wild to me that it jumped this quickly, so suddenly when we bought a house. Comment number 2 says, I don't think you need to do anything. Your husband took care of his greedy sister for you. And we have an update, so let's get into it. Holy crap, y'all. I was not expecting that much feedback. Holy moly. Y'all, I was not expecting that much feedback, but I'm super grateful. It was really affirming and validating to read a lot of those comments. And a bit humbling too. This recent move did move us a little bit out of town, so I'm still close to my social circle, but didn't immediately have someone to vent to. And you all were really helpful in that way. So, update. She was secretly planning to make him disappear to get his life insurance money. Just kidding. No, not really. After talking a bunch with both my husband and his parents, we figured out a few things. He didn't tell her that he's replaced her as the beneficiary on everything because he assumed she would know that. So she had texted him during the home purchase, hey, do you need my signature on anything for this new house? He had messaged her back, no? Question mark, question mark, question mark. She then essentially asked if the house was an asset set up like his life insurance, and he told her that everything is set up fine and that I'm on all the paperwork, and she responded, okay, smiley face. So I do think part of this is her truly not knowing how marriage is supposed to work, and she seems to have expected there wouldn't be any change. I found out she also mentioned this with their parents. Her main concern being that if something happened to my husband, I wouldn't help her son like we've been doing as a couple. Mother-in-law and father-in-law say they told her not to worry and that I love our nephew, but that's what was going on behind the scenes before all of this. Mother-in-law and father-in-law also admitted that they may have unintentionally encouraged this because they've always really encouraged their kids to support each other. But due to the various dynamics at play, what that ends up being is pressure on my husband and a sort of, your brother will always be there for you message to his sister. This was particularly strong in the last few years before I met and married him because his parents thought he was planning to be a lifelong bachelor. They're not wrong in this. He definitely had that mindset at that time. And so then he and his sister really were, in their eyes, each other's lifelong person. So the last few years, there had been this level of fallout I wasn't even aware of due to that. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this due to the fact that we are on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, period. Just search OK Storytime, the name of this show, and you can listen to over 2,000 episodes. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Have we learned anything?
We've learned that his sister is got weird expectations, and the parents are like, yeah, but we encourage that.
Yeah.
And they need to sit the sister down and tell her what's what.
Yep. Sometimes you just gotta go, okay.
And you don't need to be involved in any of that.
Hey, handle your sister, husband.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's on.
Because it's not even like, she said all that and you like got really mad at her and was like, ah, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. You literally were like, she was like, do you think you deserve that? And you said, yes. And then she's like, rah, rah, rah. And you're like, okay, bye. And you ran away. Cut and dry.
Pretty perfect response the whole way through. I also learned sister-in-law is in a not so great financial situation. Due to past issues, the whole family essentially refuses to give her cash, but will do things like buy groceries or pay phone bills, etc. So she's been struggling, and I think feeling a little desperate and jealous. Oh, of course, none of this is an excuse, and I'm not speaking to her until I get an apology. My husband has also said he needs at least a week or two before he speaks to her, but he does plan to. His parents are totally in agreement and understand. They're going to tell her that we talked about the dynamics at play and that she needs to acknowledge what is going on here and take accountability for her part in it. So hopefully that'll start things off in the right direction. Being too understanding and too flexible has been a difficulty for me for a long time. Having feedback about how truly effed up the situation was really helpful for me. So thank you. For me, there's a fine line between being unbothered and being a doormat, and I'm definitely working on differentiating those two. And that is the end of that story.
Well, there you go, folks.
Well, that's a good, yeah, know when you're being a doormat and know when you're just being a chill guy.
Yeah, sometimes you're just really not, you don't need to be involved in a situation.
I feel like this was a chill guy kind of moment.
Yeah.
Just like in the moment, I'm going to be chill about that because, yeah, what? Okay.
Yeah, like I've been in a situation where a person's just like screaming at me and I'm like, I'm actually not involved in this.
Yeah, you're like, since I have no investment in this, I actually don't care.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better about whatever it is. I'm going to eat hummus.
Yeah. My sister-in-law is purposefully excluding me. Even my mother-in-law is upset at her.
Everyone's mad at sister-in-law.
So I am now officially engaged per the Indian culture to my SO of 1.5 years. We had traditional American engagement and did an Indian engagement later on to fulfill the wish of my future mother-in-law. Future mother-in-law is great and we get along extremely well. And she started calling me her future daughter-in-law at her eldest son's wedding. By the way, this comes from Randomness Butterfly. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, her daughter-in-law, my future sister-in-law, is a brat. I helped her plan an American-style wedding as I was a prior wedding planner. My future mother-in-law was overwhelmed and with how I was raised, agreed to help her because honestly, she had never been to an American wedding and didn't know what to do. I lived in a different state, like 2,000 miles away, and pointed out to my SO this should be their gift because if I was to charge them my rates, it would be well expensive as I would have to cultivate new contacts and add my travel expenses. Moving forward, I helped put this wedding together and also was a part of the wedding party. I only asked she covered my dress as I was putting in a lot of time in getting her wedding together. She agreed to cover it, but never did and complained that the dress was $280. Yeah, I was so pissed because she thinks everything should be free. And I pointed out paying for my dress will be the least she can do because I was putting her wedding together while she was in India.
Isn't that sort of like the lowest expectation is you pay for the bridesmaid's dress?
Yeah, that's just like, she's asking for one thing. She's like, I'm literally putting together your wedding for free. I did what my future mother-in-law asked and helped put the wedding together for her, including talking to vendors and putting decorations together and a backdrop for them in the reception. Also, during the wedding, I was put into being a host role to help my future mother-in-law out along with my SO. We pulled off a miracle with only 1 month to plan. I have more stories of the crazy that followed after the wedding, but this gives you an idea. SO and I are visiting for the holidays after we got engaged, Indian engagement in November. Future sister-in-law and future brother-in-law did not come to our engagement. My understanding is that this was not good per their culture. Instead, they drove the 6 hours to my future mother-in-law's house, cleaned, and put up a new picture, including a photo we all took, and that they had purposely cut me out of the photo. Dang, they don't like you.
Criminal.
You can see my hand on my SO's arm, but not me. I am hurt by this. I did all this work to pull off a miracle during the vid on short notice. I would like to point out we've been American engaged since June. I want to call and scream at her, but I do not want to upset mother-in-law who is already upset because future sister-in-law cut me out of the photo. I am so done with her. I have pointed out I do not want her at my wedding as she is all about the drama and I'd rather have fun. Any advice on on how to handle this. And some comments say, comment one says, rather than call and yell at your future sister-in-law, I would put her on a severe information diet. Definitely don't give her any details about your wedding. Your life is no longer any of her business. She should consider herself lucky to get an invitation. And to be honest, that's totally up to you if you and your partner want to invite her. Personally, I wouldn't invite someone to my wedding who took advantage of me, ignored my work for them, and snubbed me with a family photo crop. You don't have to say anything to your future mother-in-law. You're allowed to hold your boundaries without explanation. She might not love that her daughter is not involved with your wedding, but she also might understand. You get to decide whom you involve in your day and how. OP says, SO and I already talked about low contact with both future brother-in-law and sister-in-law. For other reasons, before this happened, we are in a bit of a hard spot because future brother-in-law is the best man, cultural reasons. I know SO doesn't want to cause war with the only family he has stateside, but he also wants me to be happy and welcomed. Save the dates have been sent, and I am really considering forgetting to send the invite. But Indian culture is so different, I am an outsider. But there are a lot more comments. Do you have any thoughts before we get into those comments?
I think regardless of if it's like the right or deserved or not, I think probably play politics here until, just to like placate the extended family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to like have the whole, again, it does, you're not in the wrong. Of course she's in the wrong, but it's like, how often are you actually going to have to deal with this person outside of this context? It's like,
well, yeah, and if it is a lot, then maybe it's like post-wedding, because you're saying there are a lot of cultural reasons that you have to invite her for. Then maybe post-wedding, that's when we are like, okay, you already wanted to limit contact, so maybe that's when we start.
Right.
Push back.
It's a timing issue at this point. It's like just doing
Gotta
it in a
hold
way
out.
that doesn't turn maybe all of these people like against you in some way.
OP then adds, right now, sister-in-law and brother-in-law are at mother-in-law's house, and the gold frame photo of me, not cut out, is next to theirs. So husband is waiting to hear how that went because his mother truly does not like sister-in-law. I am still very upset with mother-in-law, and that is truly because she has allowed old beliefs to run her life. The family has made husband the scapegoat for years, and because I refuse to bend to the demands of others, I am now the problem, according to brother-in-law. Brother-in-law does unfortunately influence mother-in-law. Old tradition states that the eldest son is like the husband to the mother if the father is no longer in the picture. The 36-year-old second-year residency in emergency medicine wanted to let his vid-sick wife into the same home that his elderly mother, who's diabetic and sibling, was staying at. Yeah, I had no issue telling him he was out of line and needed to go to his place. I was the only one who had it in her right mind to say, no, you can't bring someone with the vid into your mom's home. Clearly, you're a bad doctor. So because of that, I'm a problem. Mother-in-law just refuses to apologize for threatening husband in my wedding day, and I won't let them get away with brushing it under the rug. I'm almost 30, and I've had enough BS that if you're unkind, I'll just cut you off. Husband agrees and is aware I posted on Reddit. OP continues, I was already not going to have her in my wedding party. I have several friends who have been through heck and back with me, and I have 3 other sister-in-laws in my family who would outrank her. Yeah, don't have the sucky one in your bridal party.
I think the whole point is that it's like kind of being forced upon, foisted upon her.
I told my SO and he agrees, but also knows he has to be careful to not cause too many waves. He is the youngest, and we both decided we might not follow all traditions when it comes to our wedding. Update. Thank you all for commenting. So here's the current update. We took down the photo while staying at mother-in-law's because it was causing so much drama, and future husband knew that seeing the photo hurt me. So we asked mother-in-law if we could have it put out of sight for the duration of our visit, and she agreed. Future husband and I are heading back home soon, hopefully due to weather, and mother-in-law was very upset she would have to see the photo again because brother-in-law and sister-in-law are now suddenly wanting to visit to check on the house. Insert eye roll. Yeah, I found out they're trying to make claim to mother-in-law's home by also saying they take care of dear mom, so we should get the house. Total BS. What?
That's just insane.
They're like, yeah, we're coming over because we want your house. I know you're alive, but we want your house.
There's just no context to that. Like, or it's like, imagine applying that to like a business context.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I've done a lot of work for the company, so I think I'll be CEO. And it's just like,
I want the business. It's mine now.
I mean, we appreciate what you've done, but that seems like maybe a bit of a jump.
This, of course, unsettled mother-in-law because they are acting like she's gonna pass away this year. Yeah, the 65-year-old woman who manages 6 properties and pre the vid traveled to India on her own every year. Yeah, sure, she's unable to take care of herself. Today, mother-in-law made an offhand comment. I don't want to see that photo, but I must put it back because they're coming. Yeah, I was ready to make a move. Ordered the photo sister-in-law cut me out of and a bunch of other photos from future husband and my engagement and engagement photos used in the announcement. Made sure I had the one photo printed out in the largest print I could get tonight. Went to the store, got frames in gold, hers were in black. Came home, put the frames together, and even let mother-in-law choose some of the photos to put in. Got 3 frames, 1 large, 1 medium, and a mixed small frame, all in gold. Put the photo she cut me out of next to sister-in-law's and had mother-in-law choose where the other frames should go. Ladies and gentlemen, my mother-in-law was so pleased. I think I gained more favor as she put the photos near the TV and fireplace. At this moment, future husband is happy and I am too. I'll update when this progresses, but wanted to let you all know before we head back to our 2,000-mile home way.
Away home.
I will update as this progresses, but wanted to let you all know before we head back home. Update 2!
I think all of this comes down to, like, you know, there's a lot of nitty-gritty, little political intrigues going on here. Me personally, I don't have the energy for any of that. I just will stop caring. That's just me, though. I'm not saying that that's what you should do. Like, if I'm like, all right, and now the ungrateful sister-in-law cut me out of the photo. Okay, I don't care.
Yeah, distance. Just
ungrateful
distance.
sister-in-law is
Yeah.
ungrateful. I don't care. I'm not
Seems
gonna
like
let
your
it really
mom likes
impact
you
me.
guys.
Right. That's the only one that really matters.
Yeah.
Does mom like me? Does dad like me? Whatever.
And there we
Like,
go. Check, check.
Boom. So kill him with kindness.
Update 2. So this is an update regarding the actions of my fiance's sister-in-law who has literally cut me out of a group photo. I was not only her bridesmaid, but her wedding planner. So wow, these 2 months have been busy. My lovely fiance has started a new job that we are both so happy and excited about. And we both realize we can be debt-free and afford the things we really want for our big day, as well as help out some of our wedding party who might need a little assistance. It is important to note that we've chosen not to inform sister-in-law and brother-in-law, as brother-in-law is notorious for asking for a loan and never paying back, or having mother-in-law pay his debts to my fiance. I have the shiny backbone to say no, and thankfully my fiance found his and has been echoing the same. Brother-in-law is becoming a doctor and will be in his 3rd year of residency by the time our wedding occurs. Needless to say, fiance was asked by brother-in-law via mother-in-law to see if he can borrow one of our cars. He told mother-in-law no, and even said he would check with me as we are already going to be having a lot of my family coming in. I agreed with the no by pointing out that they can afford to rent a car, especially after we rented a large SUV for their wedding when we could have gotten a smaller car. I also pointed out that one of my brothers is financially tight, being a single income with kids, and his wife being permanently disabled. We both agreed he needs one of our cars more than his brother, who is a bloody doctor and has no problem flaunting their purchases on the Insta.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I'm like, you guys can afford it.
Especially, but regardless of if they can even afford it, like, I think it's just the principle of, like, what happened with the wedding was so inherently, like, ungrateful.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I give you anything?
Exactly.
I did all this stuff for you, and all I got back was nothing.
Nada. Also, my brother has agreed to help get mother-in-law to and from places as a favor to use one of our cars, which is a win for us. So as we all noticed, weddings are expensive, and I managed to build a bit of a business relationship with one of the Indian shops in my area. The owner was willing to cut me a deal if I could get the men's measurements ASAP while he's in India, so we could pay lower labor costs. Fiance sent the group of groomsmen, including his brother, the list of measurements needed. All but his brother got us the measurements within a week. This last weekend was the deadline we gave the groomsmen to get us the measurements, so my contact can get the outfits made on time to come back. Fiance gets a call from his brother. Now this is what I know of the conversation. Keep in mind, his brother should be lucky I was not near when this happened. Fiance, hey, did you get your measurements? Brother, no, I've been kicking the can because UNOP upset dad. Fiance, what are you talking about? When did we do that? Brother, I just know dad has been crying and upset because of what OP said and said something about having to pay half the wedding. Do you know anything about that? Fiance, what are you talking about? We never talked about the wedding to dad. Brother, well, any woman who offends my family, no matter who she is, isn't welcomed. I hope you choose better. My fiance was so bothered, he called me right away and told me I lost it. How dare they give him an ultimatum? My mother heard me and told my fiance to come over and we could go over the conversation. He said he needed to pick up some groceries but should be over within the hour. In the process, his mother called and asked if he talked to brother-in-law. And he said yes, but was very bothered by the call and would call back. Once my fiance came over, I was still mad and upset. After we talked, my fiance was so done with the drama of his brother, and he was not happy with the any woman comment. He called up his mom and told her that due to the drama and with what he has on his plate alone, he had to remove brother-in-law from the lineup and as best man. He is still invited to the wedding, but isn't allowed to be in the wedding party.
Yeah, if you tell me I shouldn't marry my wife, you're not gonna be my best man.
Nope. Why would I want you next to me while I'm marrying the person you don't like?
I'm gonna put you in the back and make you the worst man.
Worst man of the wedding. His mother at this point agrees and proceeds to call his brother and tell him, at which brother-in-law kept asking if this was my fiance's decision only, and I had no influence on this. My fiance pointed out to him that as his wife, of course I will always influence him, but it's still his decision, and he will always choose to protect me, and it was his choice to remove brother-in-law from the wedding. His brother sounded fine. We went about our day as we had other things to do. In the process, I remembered recording the conversation we had with his dad as we'd been trying to solve what was said to upset him. We listened to that call and nothing was said other than we are not responsible for other people's choices, nor are they responsible for ours. We did this calmly, and honestly, I was impressed with myself for keeping my temper down. So we kept this in our back pocket. That night, fiance and mother-in-law talked, and she does this whole 180 about how dare he not involve his brother, and even threatens to not come. She and I share some words about how dare she manipulate her youngest because her eldest is being a brat like his wife, and she should respect the fact we want no drama. He and her have these on and off phone calls and ended up making her promise no matter what that she'll come and let us handle this. The next day his father calls. We really didn't want to take this call as we both know his father loves to manipulate fiance, as we both witnessed it from the recording. So fiance puts it on speaker so I and my mother can hear. Hey dad, what was brother-in-law talking about that you were upset over? Dad, oh, pause. My son, I'm upset because you and OP are getting a prenup agreement and she'll take your money away when you make more money. I about blew up and my mom signaled to me to be quiet and listen. Fiance, where are you hearing that? There is no prenup. Dad, she'll take you to the cleaners. She'll take more than half your income, make you broke. You'll lose your income, your life, everything.
Learn from me, son. Don't do this.
It was clear they have no idea what a prenup is and are clearly speaking out of line. Fiance, Dad, there's no prenup. There's never been one drafted, and whoever you got this from is wrong. Tell brother-in-law he needs to check his facts before spreading rumors about me and OP. I'm done with this conversation. Ended call.
Boom.
At this point, we confirmed we were being gaslit and manipulated. We both agreed it's us against the world, and as many would say, F 'em. That night, fiance and mother-in-law talked, and she does this whole 180 again about how dare he not involve his brother, and even threatens to not come, and even dares us to postpone the wedding. I was shattered, as I had this experience before and ended up being left at the altar because my ex chose his mother. Oof.
Dang.
My fiance was livid and told his mom, I am marrying OP on our wedding date, and if you do not support us, that's fine. We'll get married without you there. Which I'm glad he stood up to his mom, but my heart was broken. They did this whole phone on and off thing for a few hours. We figured she'd call fiance, then brother-in-law, then fiance. She plays peacekeeper instead of peacemaker, but doesn't let sleeping dogs lie. But I would never lie to you, because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
I dare you.
I dare you.
I double dog dare you.
And there's a little bit left to this story. But do you have any final thoughts?
Dude, like, Ray's, I get like, this is a cultural issue, it seems like, partially, that it's like, it has to be and happen a certain way. And it's like, family politics and cultural expectations and all that. And I say, okay, no. Like, if
at this point, it seems like you guys are like sick of everyone. So it's like even trying to acquiesce to all of the cultural stuff. It's like you don't even You don't even want any of them there.
If I get to a point where I'm forced to choose between the peace of me and my partner
Yeah.
versus like coalescing to like the expectations of others, I'm always going to pick peace.
Peace.
I'm always going to pick peace.
Pick the peace. Choose the peace.
And this was not very peaceful.
No. But let's finish the story off. She wanted to talk to me, and my fiance said no, and that it was not a good idea because she wouldn't like the results. Which was right. I was done playing nice and would have called her by my ex's mother's name. After the phone calls ended, we both agreed it's us against the world, and thank God we have my parents who said, you guys need not listen to any parent once you agreed to be married. We know what you're going through, and just know we love you both and support you. We will make sure you both get down that aisle and get married. My dad, who honestly has been more of a father to my fiance than his dad, told him, you're my son, and no one's gonna get away with hurting you or my daughter. There will be a day of reckoning, and you two only need to worry about your relationship with each other and what flavor of cake you want. I so love my parents, and I'm glad we have them to support us and provide us a safe space. So wedding is still on, and fiance has informed me his mother did apologize, but he pointed out she needed to apologize to me and to let me cool down. It's been a lot, and he has wondered if others have experienced the same. Right now, we've been doing self-care by taking dance lessons.
Nice.
And talking with our pastor as to how to handle this with respect. And folks, that's the end of that story.
Yes, it is.
And the end of this episode.
Respectfully.
Respectfully. So
We love you
and see you tomorrow.